Hello and welcome to lesson 3 of Learn the Violin. And in this lesson, we're going to go back to July the 13th, 2012, and have a look at what was then lesson 3 of the Learn the Violin series, which is called Learn to Play the Violin using a finger to produce a clean note. And now the last lesson that we did, we had a look at playing down all 4 strings and using the bow to get a clean sound. This time we're going to see if you can actually use your finger to play a single note, and it's a very useful lesson, and it's going to be a lesson which will come in very handy for those people that have not had any experience before on the violin and basically just want to make their first steps. So this is one of the first steps that you're going to make on the violin, just getting a note that's quite clean. So at the time that this video came out, we had a lot of good response. We had 76 people that liked the video, and there was not really any problems with it because the lesson was quite clear and just showed how to get a note on the violin. As I said before, these lessons are valid today because after 8 years, probably the people that were learning the violin have moved on and have gone onto sites which show more complicated violin techniques. This site is basically set up to give you your first steps. So when you've done your first steps, there's so many fantastic violin sites out there that you can go to, but this is just a step to help you over the first couple of months or even couple of weeks, whereby you just want to get your bow straight, to produce a note, and to actually stop annoying your family with all the screeching. So we had 14 comments on the last video, and most of them were quite, well, not all of them were very, very positive. This one here is from NJ, which says, "Thank you very much. You're a good teacher. I'm glad to be one of your students. I feel bored sometimes, but I love the violin, and I want to be a professional violinist." So I wonder if NJ, from 7 years ago, is now good on the violin. It'd be great if she could actually put a comment on to see how she's getting on. Kathy Walker says she's enjoying the lessons, and as a total beginner, she likes how she's been taken along very slowly, which is what the aim of the lesson is. We want to just take you through the basic steps. Bruce Swan has had the violin for 3 weeks and 1 lesson under my belt, and he thinks the videos are good and that they're helping. So the Linkroy one, are you a school music teacher? Because I think I've seen you somewhere before. No, I'm not a school music teacher, but maybe you've seen one of my videos before, so that's where you, and I've got one of those faces which probably looks like everybody else. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to have a look at that lesson. It's not that long a lesson, and it's going to take you through how to do your first note on the violin, and I hope you enjoy it, and I'll speak to you when the lesson's finished. Okay, thank you. Today we're going to be looking at how to use your fingers to get some notes on the fretboard of the violin. Now, when you start to play the violin, you probably won't buy something expensive. You'll probably buy something like this, which is a fairly cheap £40 learner violin. It's not particularly fantastic, but it's okay for what we need. This is the bow, and again, the bow is not great, but for a learner, if you're not quite sure that you're going to really enjoy playing the violin, then it's not such a great investment. Okay, so in lesson 2 we looked at playing the open strings with the bow, something like this. And we did some exercises to make the violin not screech, because this is a common error when beginners start to play the violin. They tend to not put enough pressure with the bow, tend to play near the fingerboard. But today we're going to look at using your fingers to produce notes. To start to play notes, the first thing you need to do is to pick up your violin and play the open, and with this finger put it onto the string. Now you're plucking the strings, you're not bowing the strings, but the exercise is to make a sound, so it should sound like this. We do it a little bit faster. So that's what we're aiming for. We're aiming for not this or this. We're aiming for... Okay, so you've got an open string and find the position to make that sound. So if we make that sound together, okay, now it's time to use the bow, and again you bowing in the center between the bridge and the fingerboard. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get a sound using our finger. A little bit faster. Let's do it slowly together on the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. A little bit faster. Now there's 4 strings on your violin. The first string, the highest string, is the E string, which is string 1. The second string is the A string, which we shall call string 2. The third string is the D string, and the fourth string is the G string. Now you want to make sure that your fingers are correctly placed on the fingerboard, and this is going to take practice. There's nothing better than practice, so it's important that you do this at least for 5-10 minutes every so often during the day. We're going to look at going up to 4 strings. String 4, string 3, string 2, string 1. G, D, A and E. Come down. again. String 4. Okay, let's do it together. Starting with string 4, or the G string. Bit faster. So there we have it. This is what you do to get the sound out of your violin. You practice that exercise and keep going and going and going until it sounds correct. This should take you maybe a week, 10 days to get it perfect. If you're getting bored doing this exercise, do the open exercises for the strings as well, and do the long bowing exercise. And most importantly, if you're bored, stop. But try and stop before you get bored and do something else and come back to the violin. Okay, so that's the third lesson, and the next lesson we will look at using more than one finger, and I hope to see you, and I hope that you join me for the next lesson. Bye for now. That was the lesson, and I hope you enjoyed it. And there's plenty more where that came from. And the next lesson, we're going to continue from where we left off with being able to make a note and to actually progress to the stage where we're going to do a song. And as I've said before in previous videos, we're not really a classical violin site. We're a site which is for people that just want to have fun on the violin. I personally love to play Irish jigs, Irish music, and we're just looking to start you off, and for then you to say goodbye. It's been good, but I think I need something a bit more challenging now. When you do that, for me, that's the best feeling in the world. That somebody has got to grips with the basics of the violin, and is going to enjoy the fun of actually being able to play an instrument for many, many years. So that's me for today, and we're going to give you a while to actually practice that lesson, and then I'll be back with another one. But for now, goodbye from me, and speak to you soon.